Welcome to Coach SG and Friends, where we discuss topics that help you have a better relationship with yourself and others. I am Coach SG, otherwise known as your joyful friend. I'm a relationship coach and life mentor, an entrepreneur and speaker. I'm based out of Los Angeles, but originally from Brooklyn, New York. I love great music, deep conversations, and inspiring people to live their best emotional lives and create their most amazing love story. Let me introduce you to my two friends, Janessa Rose and Lisa Miranda. Janessa is the CEO of Motivational Monsters, a nonprofit that helps people activate mental health and emotional well-being through creative arts. She is the author of How to Stop Being an Effing Bum. BUM stands for Broken Urban Mentality. She's been dubbed the Tony Robbins / Cardi B of motivational speakers, and she calls herself the Galactic Goddess. Lisa Miranda is an actor and creative director. She's also dabbling in producing. She is based in Miami, New York, and Paris. She is a world traveler who speaks several languages, who loves life, good people, and good conversation. So we want to welcome you to our podcast. Let's get started. Well, hello there, my joyful friends. Welcome to this week's podcast. So this week we're going to do something a little bit different. We are engaging our listeners, and we have a couple of listeners that have questions for us. So we're going to play one from someone who doesn't mind being public. And she's got a question. And then we have a segment called Asking for a Friend. And the reason why we do the Asking for a Friend is so that you can be more anonymous. So we have those two segments. And so we're going to play those for you today. And if you love it, leave us some comments, subscribe, like, share, whatever you need to do. All right. The other thing I want to mention is at the end of the Asking for a Friend, my audio is terrible. So I cut out a huge part of it. I didn't get a lot of sleep the day before, and I don't know what was going on with my, my phone, but it just wasn't working. So, but I kept a portion of it. So just bear with us, okay? So I'm going to let Malika share her question. All right, bye.
Hey, my name is Malika. I'm from Chicago, and I live in Fort Lauderdale right now. So my question is, what does it truly take to have a meaningful relationship today? Considering all the distractions and social media, and what does it really take? I know you can get them, but how do you keep them? Thank you. Bye.
Hey, Malika, thank you so much for reaching out with your question. We appreciate ya, and I am so excited to go right ahead and give you my take on how to best preserve, maintain, and grow your best love story. I think showing an authentic interest in each other is super important. In the beginning, it's super easy to care about what the other person likes, does, where they've been, where they're going, their dreams, their aspirations. But I know, when you've been together for a little while, it's like, I already know that story, or, oh, he didn't do that already. I think it's really important to keep dreaming together, to keep being interested in each other, to keep listening truly, passionately, and supportively to each other, and also doing things that you both enjoy. It could be simple things like cooking or playing a sport together, or, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you're both passionate about that brought you guys together, make sure to honor that and keep that on your schedule. Make that part of your lifestyle, and don't let it fade away, because I hear about couples a lot that, oh, we used to do this. We used to love going dancing, but they haven't danced together in like 5 years, So keeping that spark, tying it to romance, tying it to time, making it a part of your schedule, your routine, your lifestyle, I think is really important. And I also think honoring your sacred space and time is also really important to having a great love story. I think it's easy to just kind of like get lost in doing everything for the we, and sometimes the I can get neglected. And it's so important that you both maintain your individual I's, because that's what brings you guys together and makes you guys so special and unique when you are, when you are together. So I think cultivating your interests and the things that you're passionate about can make you guys even more, even more compatible and powerful. I also think evaluating where you are often is super powerful. So talking to each other, just like in a business, you do reviews on where things are at, making sure that you're listening to each other and seeing where your relationship is at periodically and where you guys want to improve, where you guys want to get better, where you guys want to show more support. I think it's, I know it sounds crazy because I sat my guy down and I was just like, listen, it's the quarter, we're in the second quarter of the year. We're going to have to talk about some things. How's it going? But I think trying these different things out, being able to hear each other, being able to be with each other, being able to be with ourselves is so powerful. And the right person will acknowledge this, will respect this, will keep finding things to do together and feel free and safe in the space to explore that. So I hope whatever interest that you guys have, that you're able to come together and some of them, and appreciation in all of them, and continue to grow and do amazing, beautiful things that make you stronger and happier every time.
Hey, Malika, thank you for your question. I think it's an awesome question, and I can't wait to answer it for you. And I'll do my best to answer it in a short amount of time. I think we could do a whole show over it. But so what does it take to have a real relationship? There's three things I would say that you need to focus on to have a really good relationship. Because one of the other part of your question was like, I know how to get it, but how do I keep it? So this is about getting it and keeping it. And the first one is alignment. And I use this word a lot. We joke about it on the podcast. That's my favorite word. And, I think it's really important. So alignment is, your shared values, your shared beliefs, your shared goals, because you're looking for someone that you can unite with, and you're going to become a team. And in order to be able to do that, you've got to know if you're aligned or not. And not aligned on do they dress well and are they attractive? And they like hiking, I like hiking. It's not like that. It's really about the things that are fundamentally important to you. And I guess I could give you some examples. I think if you're somebody who just loves people, like you love to serve, you love to engage with people, you love community, and you're with somebody who is more of a homebody, they don't really like people that much, you could be attracted to them, you guys can have fun together, but where it starts to break down is where you're fundamentally different. Or, another example could be somebody who is heavily spiritual or, very religious, and, their life is giving it to God and giving their life to God. And if you're somebody who yeah, I'm good, I don't need to go to church every day, you don't feel that feeling that they feel, that it can cause a breakdown, because that is what makes you thrive. That's what fills your cup. Whether it's about community, it's about how you serve God. It's really about what is fundamentally important to you that makes you thrive. So if there are things that is fundamentally important to you that makes you thrive, and your partner is not really interested, things are going to break down. Or if you're somebody who just loves parenting, you love kids, you just love giving your all to kids, and they're not really they don't like kids that much, and they don't want them in the house, you're going to have some issues. And these are the things we don't look for. The other part another example I can give is, if you're an outdoorsy person, you like to rock climb and hike and do everything outdoors, and you're with somebody who's more of a homebody, you're going to find that you're going to disconnect, because you're not similar in those ways, and not similar in just what you like, but but what is fundamentally important to you that makes you thrive. The other thing about alignment, right, is, kind of your philosophy of life. It's how you connect with the world. So if you don't have those shared beliefs about parenting, about, what it is that makes you thrive, you're going to find that you're going to disconnect. And this is the part, I think, in the beginning, when we're dating, we don't look for these things. And the reason we don't look for these things is because, one, we probably don't know what we really value. We're looking for successful, attractive, do we get along? And that's about, like, it's surface level, but it really isn't like, who am I now? Who am I becoming? And does this person, can me and this person grow together? We don't look at that. We just look at right now. They're attractive, they're nice, we get along, and we connect and we commit, and we try to, when we figure it out as we go along. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. But you've got to really understand if you're aligned in your beliefs and your shared values and the things that make you thrive. And in the beginning, this takes time. You're not going to know this going on a couple of dates. And this is, I'm really passionate about this. Here's the other thing, is that I think when we meet people, we like them, and we become a couple, and we don't really define who we are and if we're a good match. We just, like, they're attractive, we're attractive, we like fun things, and that's what happens. And then you'll find out later on that you're fundamentally different in some areas, and it causes a lot of friction for you. And when it causes a lot of friction for you, it breaks down the relationship. So alignment is really, really important. The second thing is emotional maturity. This is a big one. It is a big one. No one really looks for this. They notice if people are acting up, but they don't notice if people are truly emotionally mature. So you want to look for emotional maturity and growth. Are they emotionally mature, and are they progressing? That's really important. So, when you're looking for finances and nice clothes, and you're not looking for this, you're going to find a Pandora's box of issues later on, right? And emotional maturity is really, really important. And let me tell you why. This is how you manage yourself. This is how you figure out how you thrive. This is how you figure out who you are. This is how you manage people, places, and situations. This is where you know yourself. You know how to get through obstacles. Now, emotional maturity doesn't mean that people are bad. It's just that everybody's at a different place. Everybody's at a different emotional place. And as long as you're emotionally mature and they're working on themselves, wherever they are, you can get through obstacles, but you're going to be unable to get through obstacles if they're not working on themselves emotionally and mentally. And every time you have a fight, it escalates. They go from 0 to 100, and they're retaliating against you, and you're retaliating against them. And because this is about the repair, right? So alignment is about the connection, and emotional maturity is about the repair. So if you know how to manage your emotional state, you know how to, fill your own cup, you are educating yourself so you can be a better person every day, you'll have a better chance at having a successful relationship if you're thriving. If you're not thriving in this area, and they're not thriving in this area, it causes you to disconnect. So, and this is where the repair happens. So you need emotional maturity to repair. And if the two of you are not aligned, if you're not aligned in the fundamental things, even if you're emotionally mature, you can still separate. So you have to be aligned, and you have to be working on your self-development. You've got to be emotionally mature. You've got to know how to handle emotional problems. You've got to know how to handle yourself mentally. You've got to know how to keep yourself thriving. And the third thing is knowing how to support them in their needs, and knowing how to support yourself in your needs. And this is really important because most people don't know how to do this. They don't know what they want, and they don't know how to communicate it. And then they don't know what to do if you don't give it to them. And I was that person as well. You're not sure what you want. You have an idea, but what happens is experiences before, like maybe you had a relationship that was toxic before, or maybe you weren't getting your needs met, and now your focus is on somebody who does this thing instead of looking at everything. Now, if you're with somebody who doesn't have an interest in themselves, they're having a hard time with self-care, and they don't know how to support themselves, they become needy, they become and then they don't know how to manage their emotional state. I don't care how pretty, how much finances, how great they dress, you're still not gonna, the relationship's not gonna be successful. So you need to be aligned in your, what you find really important. You've got to have emotional maturity, and you've got to be growing. You've got to be progressing and knowing how to support yourself and knowing how to support someone else. So knowing how to support yourself is really, really important, because you don't want your partner to have that responsibility of filling your cup. So you got to know how to support yourself. The other thing is you got to know how to support them. And if they don't know what they want and how to communicate it, you're not going to know how to support them. But if you're emotionally mature, you'll probably be able to figure it out a little bit. But it takes these three things. It doesn't take just one thing. And most people, when they're going on a date, right, or they're getting to know someone, they're looking at exterior stuff. They're looking at, are they successful? Do they dress really nice? Like, am I attracted to them? We're thinking about those things, but we're not really thinking about, are we aligned in the areas that matters most to us? Are they emotionally mature, and are they growing, and are they working on themselves? Like, are they someone you feel safe with, that you can talk to? And are you able to support them in what they need? And are you giving yourself what you need? So the reason that relationships, they break down is because of these areas. Maybe, when it comes to alignment, people are changing and growing, and they're growing apart. Or, the emotional maturity is not, is stagnant. Maybe they're suffering, through some past stuff, or they've got just a lot of emotional stuff going on, and it's a lot of red tape to get through, so you're unable to connect with someone who's not connecting with themselves, right? Who's having a really tough time. And knowing how to support someone. Most people don't support people in what they need. They support them in what they think they need. So they're not asking a lot of questions. They're not, they're taking everything personal. If they need, a little bit of space, or they need to do more things, or they need to change in some way, we're taking that stuff personally, instead of going, this is what makes them thrive, and I want to help make them thrive. And it has nothing to do with me. This relationship is about supporting each other to be better. So I hope I answered your question, but it takes those three things. It takes alignment, it takes emotional maturity and growth, and it takes being able to support people in their needs and being able to support your own needs. So I hope that was helpful. All right, thank you. Now it's time for our Asking for a Friend segment.
All right, guys, I have a asking for a friend question. So my friend gave me the premise, and I took some notes. And I wanted to ask you guys what you think, because it has a lot of emotional components in this relationship question, and I wanted to give her some other perspectives. Okay, so the question is: my friend has been dating someone for a little while, and they haven't seen each other for a couple of weeks, and she hasn't really been speaking to him in those few weeks. However, she's supposed to be spending some time with him in the coming weeks. He had taken off from work when things were still hot and heavy, and now she feels like like she went through some emotional stuff, and now she just really doesn't feel like hanging out with him anymore. But she hates hurting good people, and he's a really great guy. So she feels like she should still hang out with him, because he's already done this much. However, she doesn't want to. So now she's wondering how do you cancel? How do you put your emotions first? How do you, or do you give yourself the liberty to just ghost someone who hasn't done anything wrong to you? Like, what do you do in these situations when your emotions have changed, but the other person isn't aware yet, and you guys have already made plans before you knew you were about to be a brand new person?
Um, the fact that this friend does not want to hang out with this person is the major focus for me. If you don't want to do it, when you do it, you're not showing up. Something else is, someone else is, another part of you that is pretended, is false, and is just as hurtful as ghosting someone or telling someone the truth. And it is just, this person is more worried about how to hurt a person, if they're going to hurt him, but they're forgetting about hurting and respecting their own self and what they want. You have to, friend, dear friend, you have to care for yourself first and foremost. It's not that this person, you not wanting to hang out with them, doesn't necessarily correlate with them being a bad person or deserving to be hurt. That's a story. That's a belief system that they have to undo and work on. And then maybe while they're becoming a new person, they need to consider that or have this experience in order for them to start to consider that. You're not really doing it to hurt them. And if they are hurt, that's really not your business and not for you to own or process, because that's going to keep you in the space of not showing up as you and what you want and what's good for you. So it's very simple. Because we have lost connection, our brains have such a role in how we receive things. If I don't see you or hear you and speak to you, we don't exist to each other. So I'm not becoming a new person. I'm not attached. I'm detached. I'm now practicing detachment now, which is what we should all be doing anyway. So that way we don't melt down and lose down or keep ourselves in connections that don't really benefit us or the other person. Because if you're keeping the connection based off of sparing their hurt feelings, how's that benefiting them? Here they are investing genuine attention and energy with a person who genuinely does not want to be there and is not genuinely there. That's huge. So you just have to really, like, listen, to be honest, ghosting is not a bad thing. Some people are not confrontational. It's not. It's, listen, it's, if I come and I tell you, you know what, I love you, I'm gonna be with you, I'm gonna call you tomorrow, and you never hear from me, different story. But if I haven't spoken to you in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, because you're busy, I'm busy, and then all of a sudden I just stop answering my call, technically that's not a ghost. That's just the evolution of what we've been doing, the evolution of the detachment. I don't have to explain myself at all. No is a complete sentence. Can't come.
Ooh.
Look, she
I'm
said,
gonna I'm gonna stay with Janessa's question answer. I just say I concur.
it's strong stuff, man. And it's not easy though, because we don't want to hurt people, but we're not. That's not the intent. The intent is I'm bailing so I don't hurt you.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Lisa?
I'm writing that down like that. I was gonna say, because it almost it almost seems virtuous to take other people's feelings over our own. This whole idea of just worrying about your emotions. I know for me, I didn't know too many people who were taught that. So it's still something that is difficult for me to teach other people. Like, don't worry about their emotions, because it's like I'm still battling with that. I'm worried about everyone else's emotions. So while it's easy to say, or even that conversation, like I don't feel like I have the vocabulary for my friend. Like, hey, obviously it's much easier, because I think what's challenging is that it's easy when someone did something wrong for you to be like, see, this is your punishment, because we live in that kind of world, right? But when someone didn't do anything wrong and someone's nice and you just don't like them anymore, and everyone else is always saying, well, how there's few fish in the sea, and it's so challenging to be like, well, listen,
So what we do, we punish ourselves then.
right.
So because what you just said was, oh, you did this wrong, so obviously here's your punishment. But when you're not wrong and I'm just not engaging, then I have to punish myself and stay in this connection. Absolutely not. This is a false belief system. And also, this is what causes meltdowns and super unhealthy toxic connections, because the moment when they have their boundaries all set, and because they've been genuine from the moment, and we're like, well, what do you mean you're leaving me? I just stood in here for 3 months when I ain't even like you. Huh? And held your weird little appendage. I don't want to be here.
OMG. OMG. What is happening?
You know, sorry, Mel, I didn't go.
That's what you're talking about. When it's those things when you don't like someone anymore, the things that bother you that once before you're like, oh, this is so cute, your imperfections.
Yeah. But when,
Cool.
right. And then when they start to, when we hold that space, like, oh, they're a good person, let me just stay in the connection. We're subconsciously like pushing on, suppressing on our own selves of what we really want. We're punishing ourselves for their, spare of feelings. And then when they're like, yo, I don't like this about you, we got like 30 heads like, boy, I just stood, or girl, I just stood in this situation for X amount of time on account of sparing your feelings, and you're just gonna walk all over me like this? Oh, this is where that unhealthy connection comes from. If it's something you're not wanting to be in, trust me, that person you're connecting to, they're not gonna want you to be in it, whether they understand that or not.
She was asking for a friend.
I know. I'm speaking to the friend.
Directly to the friend.
I'm speaking to you, friend.
Yo, Sherelle. Maybe Sherelle's a friend. She had no comment.
Don't say that. Look.
Okay, I gotta be honest with y'all. I was half listening because my focus. I can't focus today.
Sherelle need she need a Gatorade, ice.
I got like 4 hours of sleep. I was trying to move because the lawnmower is going on that side, so I was like, let me move on the other side of the room. But I only heard a couple of parts, and the part was, I think it was more about like, you can support people in their emotions, but you can't carry them. That's the difference. You don't want to like disregard how people feel and like, well, those are your emotions. You just need to figure it out. But it's really about not carrying the pain that they have, or not carrying whatever they feel, or feeling that you're responsible for it, because you're not responsible for it. Go ahead.
I have a question, because what I was saying to Fran was, you can let this person down gently and just say something came up, you didn't get the time off from work, but does that just perpetuate a cycle of not being totally honest about your emotions? Or is that something where you might just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just getting out of it. It doesn't matter how.
I don't know. I feel like things are baby steps, right? And everybody's they're at a different place. And sometimes you have to do the best that you can with what you have, the tools that you have in your toolbox, right? So if we put it in a right or wrong category, we say, well, is it dishonest? Is it whatever? No, it's what you need at the time. That's the best you can do. If that's the best you can do, you're not doing anything to anyone else. If they're in a place of emotional maturity, they're going to deal with it on their own. So they don't have to carry whatever you've got or assess if it's, honest or not. Or we give it too much, I think too much weight. You just do the best that you can with what you have.
Yeah, I agree too. I also, it is both sides, but Sherelle, you're right. But I also do believe that it is gonna just delay what you eventually feel. But I think what Sherelle says is way more accurate, for the simple fact that at that moment you might just be at that space. Like we said, feelings aren't really necessarily facts, and they're gonna shift. So let's say this friend, to me, what I'm hearing from friend is just really more focused on how can I control and manage their emotional response, which is just naturally not possible. It's a waste of their personal energy. So friends should just really be like, listen, however it works for them at the moment when they have to face that, like, all right, I can't do it this week, something came up or whatever whatever have you. That's what they need to focus on. What makes them feel, how can they honor their feelings in the best space that they can at the moment that is presented, and really not focus any way possible on how this person's receiving it. That's the part that they have to really get. I cannot micromanage the way this person processes my ways or how I'm feeling. That's it. They have to honor their own feelings. But yeah, still annoying.
Do we answer the question?
Yeah, I think that was the answer. And
All right,
that,
Mr. Rowe, get some rest.
huh?
What's that?
Mr. Rowe, get some rest.
Yeah, for
Girl,
real.
I have,
Sure,
I have,
honestly,
I have clients.
Oh my God, you got a client too?
Yeah, and it's Zoom. Most of my clients don't want to. We
Oh,
just
you
talk.
look good. You look good. The fog is
Thank
in
you.
here. You need to get a Gatorade for real. It'll make you feel so much better. I
No,
promise.
I have some electrolytes in there. I'll take it. I haven't taken it yet, so.
Oh yeah, you're gonna come right back to life.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for nurturing me. Because my baby's back in Palm Desert today, so.
okay, so thank you guys for your contribution to an asking for a friend. I know that's something that is really big with a lot of people that I know, and even with me, is letting go of the responsibility of other people's emotions and feeling like that's something that that we have to manage, instead of just worrying about our emotions. So I know that's a new concept for a lot of people, and I appreciate you guys shedding some light into how to deal in those situations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if there are any other asking for a friend questions that you want to submit to us, if it's, hey, you can send it through Instagram or Facebook. If there's just a question that or you could do it by video, however you want to do it, you send it to us and we will be honored to answer your question. And so thank you for tuning in today, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. So,
My joyful friends, that's our show. Thank you for listening. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe and leave a review. Share this episode with someone you think would get some value out of it. We look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Bye-bye now.